So the first question I want to ask, just to get right into it, what is JDAI? Like, how would you describe it, and what is it? What is it about?
So that's a good question. A lot of people have that question when I tell them what my title is, what my role with the court is. So first of all, it's an initiative that was started by the Annie E. Casey Foundation back in 1993. It's an initiative that's in over 300 counties throughout the entire country. Here in Ohio, we have a couple dozen counties that's JDAI counties. So I'll kind of always explain it like this. JDAI is based on 8 core strategies, and I kind of mention each one and kind of give a little tidbit on each one. But number one, collaboration. Promoting collaboration within departments within the court, as well as the community and families who've been impacted by the court. That's important because, as we always say, it takes an entire community to raise a child or to help a kid. So that's number one. Use of accurate data, making decisions and making sure that we're doing the appropriate thing with young people, not based on how someone feels one way or another, but just looking at the data, looking at the numbers, and determining, how we're doing based on data. Having objective admissions criteria, just making sure that we're not putting kids into a detention center just on a whim, making sure that we have concrete objective criteria for, putting young people when necessary. Alternatives to detention, this is one of the bigger pillars of JDAI. It is kind of looking at it outside the box, looking at every different opportunity to help young people rather than just using detention. Case processing, making sure that cases flow through the court in a timely manner, making sure that we're not holding up the process. Minimizing or eliminating special cases in detention, so looking at those technical violations, circumstances that wouldn't necessarily be against the law if the kid wasn't already involved with the court, and eliminating those situations from being in the detention center. And then reducing racial and ethnic disparities. Right now we have a very high number of young people involved with the court system that are kids that are Black or African American kids, and just trying to reduce the disparities in those numbers in every way possible. And then conditions of confinement, of course, for those young people who do end up in our detention center, just making sure that the detention center is appropriate, is clean, the facility is, the way that it should be for the young people who are in the detention center. I always kind of also throw in probation transformation, because that's another very, very big pillar of what the work that we're doing here in Cuyahoga County, just trying to make sure that we're using probation as an effective tool.
To explain what JDAI is, can you just tell everyone, what are the goals of JDAI?
Yeah, so number one, eliminating the use of detention as a catch-all, right? One of the biggest things was looking at the use of detention years ago, use of probation years ago, and realizing that it wasn't very effective. And so one of the goals for JDAI is to make sure that we're utilizing detention when it's absolutely necessary, for those serious violent incidences where community safety could be at jeopardy. That's what we want to use detention for. We want to be able to think outside the box and be creative and utilize the community for kids that don't require detention. So that's probably like the biggest goal for JDAI, just rethinking that entire process from a court standpoint, adding tools to the toolbox, so to speak, so that we can more effectively help the young people who do come into the court, rather than just using detention.
In your own words and in your own thoughts, why is JDAI important?
That's a good question. Number one, I would say JDAI is important because it's been proven to be effective. It's been around for over 30 years now in over 300 counties throughout the country. and the numbers show that it's been effective. When you look at the recidivism numbers for kids coming in and out of the court, it just shows that it's been effective both here and in other counties. So that's one of the big reasons. But also, it's helped people understand that young people brains are developing still. The brains are not fully developed, and we need to understand the adolescent brain science to be able to more effectively help young people. And I think JDAI has helped to push the thought process forward, that we don't just need to rely on detention or probation for every single infraction, that we can actually utilize the science to really help young people, whatever the case may be. So I think that those are some of the reasons why it's important. It makes the community safer because you have less incidences taking place in the community. And then even the conditions within the detention center become safer when you don't have it overcrowded, when you don't have young people in the detention center for situations that they should not be in for that don't affect community safety. So I think that, but I just double back on number one thing is it's been proven to be effective. It's been proven over the last 30 years that it's the way to go.